Welcome back to the Fumble Forecast for a very special episode that we all saw coming, but also an introduction to a very, 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 very special guest of ours. This right here is Papa. This is
Yes, the old man's here to throw in his 2 fucking
this is the
cents.
old man. This is my old man specifically.
Yeah.
But we are here today to recount the events of Super Bowl 59.
Sweet.
It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close.
Really.
I don't really know how else to put this other than belt to ass, beat the snot out of them, trash cans. I don't know how that team got to the Super Bowl to play against the best team in Eagles history. I just don't know how it happened.
Well, you know exactly how it happened.
I know, it's because the quarterback played so effectively on the Eagles side of the ball.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with not giving up a freaking point until there was 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah, because the quarterback didn't
gotta
score
give,
40 points, right?
I'm sorry. I'm just going to interject here. Like, hey, man, my hat's off to Jalen Hurts. I've been dogging him all season, and, he really showed up. And I just wish that Jalen Hurts had been, like, consistent all season.
Yeah,
Like,
I
well,
mean, it
don't
would be great if he
understand.
could do that every single game.
I'm not even saying every single game. It's like he showed up in the playoffs, which is the most important thing. But like to have the level of confidence in him, it wasn't there, man. It didn't show up until the playoffs, and then he showed up. And I mean, like I said, hats off to him.
Super Bowl MVP.
Well, he was
Yeah, well, I
MVP
guess there's
last
no way they
time,
could give it to the
too.
whole defense.
You could have given it to Milton Williams with the strip sack.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time a defensive player was MVP? Has it ever happened?
I don't think that's
Sure,
ever
no.
happened. Maybe when
Yeah.
the 85 Bears were playing.
Let's see.
I mean, if I was going to give it to anybody, I mean, you got to give it to a player. But if I could choose someone to give it to, I'd go with Fangio. Really?
Yeah, I mean, for real. I mean, okay, so here's our first question of the podcast. We always love our polls that we like to do. And Mark, I want your answer first. Who is the unsung hero? Or let me rephrase this. Who is the big Cinderella story here? Who had the biggest redemption arc this season? Was it Nick Sirianni? Was it Jalen Hurts? Was it Vic Fangio after that terrible season in Miami? Who had the swan song for this one?
Well, I think it's obvious. I think it's obviously Jalen.
Oh.
Look, I love Vic, and he made the right choice coming to Philadelphia and not staying with a garbage team like Miami.
Clearly.
But to be honest, the Dolphins, the defensive play was looking better when he was in charge. They were just made out of glass. I think that's more fault of the front office and the not getting big beefy guys like we have in Philadelphia.
Mark loves his big beefy men after all.
I do, I want to get it. Like I told you, Tom, and now I gotta tell you, Papa. On the Eagles website, they have a picture. They have like a sideline shot of when Cooper DeJean laid out Derrick Henry. I want to get that picture.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of the season. For me, I actually see the biggest redemption arc. It has to be Nick Sirianni. Dude, people were literally calling for him to be fired after week 4. And now he's coached a Super Bowl winning team. It's different though. It was different though, because you know that the starting quarterback was going to get to try another coach if they got rid of Sirianni. They would have given him at least one more year to figure it out. But Sirianni, everybody except me Everybody wanted that motherfucker fired. Everyone.
Well, hey, look, I'm going to tell you, you know, like what happened. They had a big powwow after the bye because going into the bye, it wasn't looking so good. Right? Like
Yeah.
Sirianni was going for it on fourth down in dumb situations, doing 2-point conversions when he didn't need to. You know, he was making all kinds of questionable coaching decisions, right?
He
And
never stopped doing that shit.
yeah, and that and keep in mind, like this was coming off of a monumental collapse in the season
Yeah.
before
Last
when,
season was pretty bad.
you know, they lost what, like 7 out of their last 9 or something, come and go, you know, and that's that's a bitter pill to swallow, man, because there was way too much talent on that team for them to fail like that.
Mm.
And I mean, who takes the brunt? Who shoulders the burden of that? It's got to be the head coach. So you know,
Yeah, sure.
he deserved a lot of the blame. Now, what happened? I mean, I would be so curious to be in that meeting with maybe Lori, you know, Howie Roseman and Sirianni getting together and saying, "Hey, man, what the fuck is going on here?" And then them coming out on the other side of it and saying, "Hey, maybe we don't need to ask Hurts to do so much. We got a pretty damn good offensive line. We got this dynamite running back. Let's just pin this on our defense, our offensive line, run the ball." And it worked. It friggin' worked.
Yeah, so we actually do know what happened over the bye week. Jalen and Nick have both talked about it publicly. So, from what I understand, and they won't say who initiated it or whose idea it is. They're often cryptic in their press conferences and what have you. But we do know that they had it when bye week starts, okay? For the next 2 weeks, they were talking to each other every single day for like 2+ hours together, Hertz and Sirianni, trying to figure out what they can do to make it work. And whatever the fuck they talked about, whatever the fuck they practiced during that bye week, it obviously fucking worked.
I mean, look, what obviously what happened was Hertz's passing went down. He wasn't throwing the ball as much. I mean, that just stopped. It didn't stop. It slowed down. They picked and choose when he was going to pass the ball. And then, and it was so curious to me that, they got to the playoffs and then they had to open it up a bit because they started attacking the run more. They started stacking the box and playing the run more. And he was forced to start throwing the ball and he had success.
Yeah.
And that's what he needed to do. And,
For some reason, he's just a postseason wizard. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's like the opposite of Lamar Jackson. Like, Lamar Jackson can play during the regular season, and then the first round of the playoffs, he turns into fucking, what the hell is his name? Rudy from the movie.
Trent Dilfer.
He turns into Trent Dilfer. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what the fuck happened here? But then you have Jalen Hurts, who is like a Russell Wilson-y type all season long. And then he just suddenly explodes in the postseason, and it just makes no sense.
Well, with the exception of last season, but the defense collapsed too last season. So I'm not pinning it at all on him, but still,
everything was horrible at the end of last
it would
season.
be nice. It would be nice to have like that playoff consistency during the regular season. It would give me a lot more confidence. But how can you complain about a goddamn Super Bowl champion MVP quarterback? I mean,
Can't.
I'm not going to apologize for my criticisms because I think they're valid. But goddamn, my hat's off to the guy.
So, are you trading him still, Dad?
Nah, I'm keeping him. I mean, you have to. The chemistry's there now. The chemistry's there now. You can't get rid of him. I wouldn't get rid of him. I mean, are there quarterbacks I would prefer to have over him? Yeah, I could think of a few, but very few now. I mean,
I put him
wouldn't
third.
upset the apple cart. It's working. Sorry, Mark. I'm elbowing you out of the conversation.
No,
he's
fine.
thoroughly enjoying this. Just look at his
No,
face.
I am, and also, this is kind of my role on this podcast.
To get beat up.
Yeah, kind of. I don't think we were recording, but I looked it up. The last defensive player to get MVP in the Super Bowl was Malcolm Smith, linebacker for Seattle in 48 in Super Bowl
48. That wasn't even a Super Bowl.
Super Bowl 48. Super Bowl.
Oh,
48.
Super Bowl 48.
Super
Yeah.
Bowl 48. Wow.
So what?
That
That was the Legion of
wasn't even that
Boom.
long ago.
No,
That's
that was
not
the
even that
Legion of
long ago.
Boom. It was like 2012.
Yeah, that was the last. That was the last defensive player. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I missed it. Von Miller in Super Bowl. 48.
Oh, the Broncos in 2015. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, didn't he have like 2 forced fumbles in that game or something?
6 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 1 defended pass.
Okay.
As given to me by this ESPN stat sheet.
Yeah. Well, it certainly couldn't have been Peyton Manning in
believe
that
it.
game. He played like dog water. But yeah, and there's also the other redemption stories here, of course, like the side redemption stories. You have Saquon Barkley, who everybody thought was a draft bust coming from the Giants. They thought that he couldn't get it done. Everybody was saying he's a bum, things like that. But then you also have Zach Bond, who played a completely different position coming into this season. Vic Fangio found a way to make him work in our system, and now he's the number 1 linebacker in football. That's another redemption story. Every player on our roster has some kind of redemption story coming into this season. And it's kind of cool, honestly.
Mekhi Becton suffering under the Jets.
Oh, yeah, I feel bad for anybody who gets drafted by the Jets. That's a disaster. That's a travesty. That should be illegal. Like, you should get a free do-over.
Yeah, it's like punishment.
Yeah. But the couple of news topics. We were talking a little bit before the podcast started getting recording for those of you out there listening. And one of the topics that we were talking about is Zach Bond himself. We have gotten the word is in now, breaking news, that Zach Bond has decided he will test the market instead of simply re-signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. This is obviously going to be a blow to the Eagles if he does not re-sign with the Eagles. But there is good news here too, in that Nakobe Dean is still a good linebacker. He can fill in that gap. So you'll notice that when the Eagles built their roster this past season, they had depth at practically every position. Okay, that they I mean, reasonable depth. Of course, there's not like 5 number 1s for every position. That'd be ridiculous. You couldn't do it. But we do have depth. Like, for example, you have Darius Slay, you have Quinion, you have Avante Maddox. You have all kinds of people that can cover in corner. We have endless amounts of D linemen. They just never stop coming. And it just kind of seems like we're good. Even if Zach decides not to re-sign us, though I would love if Zach Bond were here again next season. And then we have another topic to discuss, Eagles related, of course, the most important team in the NFL and best team, world champions. We got to talk about Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is indicated that he wants to come and play for the Philadelphia Eagles. How do you two feel about this?
Oh, I mean, he'd be stupendous addition, but this off season, a week out of a week away from the Super Bowl speculation is, I'll wait, give it some time, at least wait till after the friggin' draft or something. They're not going to sign anybody this early. Not going to make any moves or any decisions yet.
I don't
So,
know.
in Roseman, we trust.
Indeed, in Roseman we trust.
Yeah, and whoever threw that fucking beer at his head, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, I
did.
did. I heard. I mean, I saw people on social media saying that they were throwing beers like back and forth. Like,
Yeah,
they
he
were
wasn't trying to hit him in the head.
I don't think it was some unruly fan that like was out to try to hurt.
No, it wasn't on purpose.
No,
But like, we're certainly not signing him as a quarterback.
no, or a wide receiver.
I think I've been pretty vocal about it. I would love for him to come. But if he's not going to take a team friendly deal, if it's looking like we can keep our core right now, I think we should.
Yeah. So
I
I have a
think-
rather complicated answer. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
I think he's an amazing player. I think he would fit really well under Vic.
Definitely.
But if it's not going to be team friendly and people are going to be staying, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. So for
But
me,
I will say this. I'm sorry, I keep cutting
no,
you
you're
off.
good. You just keep stopping.
I know it's my speech pattern. I'm sorry. I will say this though. For the love of God, don't go to the commies.
Yeah, I saw that the communists they've been throwing their hat into the ring for Myles Garrett. Please, for the love of God, no. That would be very bad. But what is it? My opinion on this is a little bit more complicated than I'd like it to be. So we have some contracts on our D line coming up, but these aren't like our starters. These are our depth players. So we got to take care of Jordan Davis. Josh Sweat is about to walk. Milton Williams is on the last year of his deal, or was on the last year of his deal. He needs to get re-signed. We have 3 missing D lineman contracts that we need to get done. If Josh Sweat and Milton Williams are not coming back, then yeah, I'd love to have Myles Garrett come in on a, again, team-friendly deal. That'd be fantastic. The thing is, if I want to keep as many players as possible. You can't keep everybody, duh. But I want to keep as many people as possible. And if I had to choose between Josh Sweat and Milton Williams or Myles Garrett, I'm very tempted to take Josh Sweat and Milton Williams over Myles Garrett. But I would rather have Myles Garrett over either of the other two in isolation. And it seems like Josh Sweat might be getting ready to sign with the Patriots. That seems to be where he's going to end up. So
I hadn't heard
that's that.
But we need to unload Huff. So.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can trade him to the Browns in exchange for Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I don't. Well,
Just
I don't
get
know.
rid of that motherfucker.
Yeah,
but I have heard in rumblings that the Panthers might be interested in acquiring Bryce Huff. So, and then you guys also have to consider we have Jalix Hunt. He has been a standout like this season for being like a 6th round draft pick. He's done quite well. So I think that
nobody has played bad when they've touched the field.
Other than Bryce Huff.
Other than Huff.
Yeah.
Other than Huff, they paid all that friggin' money to.
I mean, I didn't want to have to be the one to say it, but
yeah, Bryce Huff sucks. I don't know.
You know,
and I believed in him too.
Roseman's a wizard, but you know,
he's gonna have some
every now and then you pull the rabbit, you pull it out, and it's dead.
Oh god, that's off.
Bryce Huff is a dead rabbit. Quote.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, I guess that's kind of the analogy I was making. He was bad. I mean, phew.
Clip it.
What a load.
Yeah, he couldn't even really get on the field. It's a shame. But
it is a shame because he had some pretty decent seasons playing for the Jets. I mean, he seemed like a pretty solid pickup.
Thing is, if you actually go back and watch the plays where he was getting all these sacks and everything, it was just like the O-lines for some of these teams would just open like a floodgate for him and he would just walk to the quarterback. So they were like easier than a lot of what we deal with where we have the Cowboys O-line, the Commanders O-line, and the Giants O-line. They are just, as a standard, the NFC East does have typically pretty good defensive and offensive linemen. It's something that we just prioritize in our division.
Hey, getting sacks isn't easy. I don't care what team, even if you're playing on a shitty team like the Jets in that horrible division. I mean, you still have to get to the quarterback, and that's no easy.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's easier.
Well, yeah, sure, fine. I don't know,
But
but I'm going to give the guy some credit. He seemed like a good player. I mean, Roseman doesn't usually pick up busts, but that was a bust.
yeah, everybody picks up bums every now and then. They're like candies.
I mean,
Well, I took a chance on him. I guess it didn't seem. It seemed like a. It seemed
Well,
like a pretty good risk.
he got real lucky that his picking up Zach Bond way overshadowed how bad of a bust Bryce Huff was.
Yeah, well, everybody else panned out, so
Yeah.
good.
I mean, there's
Good
nothing to
thing.
complain about when you win a Super Bowl. Like, what the fuck are we going to say? You fucked it up? You suck?
you stupid.
But back to the Myles Garrett thing, something that I actually think might happen. So there's a player that I'm particularly partial for that's going into the draft this season. His name's Abdul Carter, plays for Penn State. Played for Penn State. He's going into the NFL this season. I think that the Browns probably are going to dump Garrett, draft Abdul Carter. I would love instead if we could somehow jump them in a trade and get Abdul Carter. I would rather have Abdul Carter than Myles Garrett. He's way
Or
younger.
one of the
He'll
Eagles.
be on a
Well, I
rookie
mean, where are the
deal.
Eagles at? I mean, the Eagles are what they get the 31st pick or something.
I know. That's why I said
Yeah.
trade. They'd have to trade for it. They'd have to
Yeah.
make it work.
Yeah, for them to move up in the draft, they yeah, they'd have to trade. Who are they going to trade? Who you want to trade? Huff?
He
You're
was,
not gonna. You might move up one place in exchange for maybe a third round pick or something.
he actually Tom and I actually did like this mock draft the other night, and
Yeah, we did.
he actually thought that Howie could convince the Giants to trade away their third pick. in
Yeah, the
round.
first round pick. They have the third overall. I do think that Howie Roseman is
who?
gonna. Huh?
For what? Who are
What do
they
you
going
mean?
to? What are they going to offer to move up to the third pick in the draft?
They're gonna offer Bryce Huff, and they're gonna offer their own pick plus one other pick as compensation.
No way. No
Because
way.
I
No way
don't
that's not
think that the
yeah.
Giants actually have any faith at all in any of the quarterback stock in this draft, and I think that that's what they actually care about. So honestly, they might do a here's Bryce Huff and this year's first plus next year's first. You give us your first now, and then the Eagles have the third pick.
I don't see it. I don't see that happening.
But I will tell
I
you,
think I would do if I was Howie Roseman. Yeah, I would do that deal. But I don't see I mean, the Giants already made the biggest blunder ever in letting Barkley go. I don't think they're going to throw the third pick in the draft to the Eagles. I mean,
There's no way that they take any sort of
if they
deal with
don't
the Eagles.
if they don't see a quarterback that they like, I think that they will trade it. Maybe not directly to the Eagles specifically, but I think that if the quarterback that's there isn't there, or the quarterback that they want isn't there, they're going to trade that pick.
maybe the Eagles can trade him. Who's that third quarterback that we have?
Tanner McKee.
Yeah, maybe the Eagles will trade Tanner McKee to.
Oh, that's
to
what
the
my
Giants.
trade was. It was Kenny Pickett and our first for their first.
I would take
champion
Tanner
Kenny
McKee
Pickett.
before I would take.
Yeah, but I don't want to give them Tanner McKee.
No, I don't either. I think he's gonna go. He's not gonna stay. People are gonna look at the film and some team's gonna pick him up or
Yeah,
make some
probably the
kind of
fucking
offer for him.
Raiders or the Jets. Honestly, let's trade with the Jets.
Now the Jets are gonna want some other old fucking douche.
They're gonna
Some
pick
old
up Russell Wilson.
There's been talks about Aaron going over to the Steelers. I'm just like,
Dude, it's crazy. I thought the same thing.
Going to Dallas. I guess
Dude,
they
he
paid
is so
Prescott
cooked.
some
He's
money,
done.
why won't he retire?
He's done. Like, he needs to stop.
No, he needed to stay in. I like him embarrassing himself now.
It's pretty much the same shit I was saying all season.
I always
Like,
thought it was
one of our biggest talking points over the past 2 seasons has been how much of a douchebag Aaron Rodgers is. I hate that motherfucker.
I think he's always been a douchebag, but it's really gotten worse now that he's in decline. he thinks he's so much better than what he
Yeah.
is. You know what
He's
didn't he
awful.
like? Who was it? The receiver that he like lobbied for the
Devonta
best.
Adams.
Yeah, they brought in Adams, and that didn't help him one fucking bit at all.
Yeah, because he
Still
fucking
stinks.
blows. He sucks.
Well, I mean, he was good. His better days are behind him. You
Of
know,
course,
he
but
needs to
that was
hang it
10
up.
years ago.
Yeah, I can't argue that. He's been not good for a while now.
Yeah, it's been like 5 years since that dude was past his prime. But I gotta ask you guys, who's your top pick in the draft this season? Who's the most talented guy?
I wouldn't know. I don't really follow college, so I wouldn't be able to have an informed opinion.
All right, Mark, what's your answer?
I think you know what my answer is.
I don't know your answer, Mark. You're gonna have to tell me.
Yeah, fine. It's Cam Ward.
Really?
Yeah.
Who?
I mean, he's
Cam Ward,
is
he's
the
a
QB
University
for-
of Miami quarterback.
Yeah.
They're not drafting a quarterback.
No, not the Eagles. We're just talking about in general, the number one overall
Oh,
pick.
no, I don't want Cam. I don't want Cam Ward for the Eagles. No, I mean, again, I only really watched games, so I can only speak.
Mhm.
I can
Yeah,
really speak about UM.
I gotta tell you,
And I liked what I saw from Cam Ward. I did.
yeah, he's good. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I just don't think that there's very many good quarterbacks in this draft. But I will tell you, there's one guy in particular. I think he is going to be an absolute fucking menace in the NFL. His name is Ashton Genty, snubbed for the Heisman Trophy. I have him going to the Las Vegas Raiders at the 6th pick overall. I think he's going to be a super freak. And the thing that I'm really worried about, because there's already rumors running around about this, I'm really worried that the Cowboys are going to trade up and snatch him up before the Raiders can get to him. And the reason I say that is because I think that he would do really well in the scheme that the Cowboys seemingly are trying to run every year. He's that huge running back type. And I wouldn't like that. That sounds a little scary.
There's nothing scary about the Cowboys. as long as Jerry Jones is pulling the levers, that organization hasn't been good in 30 years. I mean, they don't frighten me at all.
Long
Not
may
even
he
a little.
reign.
Yeah, I was 6 months old the last time that they went to a championship game.
And who was it? Now that what's this new coaches? They resurrected.
Schottenheimer.
Yeah,
They resurrected the ghost of Schottenheimer to come in and save the fucking day. He's another washed out freaking coach. His better days are behind him. I mean, as much as I harp on Sirianni, at least he's young and he's got he's aggressive, and I even think it's I think Reed should probably hang it up too. Honestly, he probably should have got out after last season. I mean, I guess you can't because
You
there
can
was
when you're going for the 3-peat.
right. He was going, but now he doesn't have anything left to prove now.
Oh, I don't think that's how those type of people think. I think he's going to keep going until he can't.
Yeah, I guess probably. Yeah, as long as he's doing bundle Rooski and getting the big money, I guess he'll keep doing
Bundle
it.
Rooski doo!
What was it? Bundle Looski.
Yeah.
Bundle
Fucking clown,
loser.
man. Bundle loser.
I don't know, man. I loved him. I still like
I like
him.
Andy Reid
He's
too.
a class act. I mean,
Yeah, he's awesome.
He was difficult to dislike Andy Reid. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
I mean,
And he's officially the second best Eagles coach ever now.
Yeah, he's secured his place in the Hall of Fame, and deservedly so.
Yeah. I mean, 3 rings will do that to you.
Yeah,
But,
3 rings
yeah.
and 5 showings, right? I mean, 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to the Hall of Fame, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's going to go in as a Chief, not an Eagle.
Yeah, well, of course.
For sure.
He's no Belichick, though. Just like Mahomes is no
Yeah,
Brady. Mahomes is no Brady. No, dude, that's not going to happen. I think
I
the
never
Chiefs
say
really
never.
got exposed. I mean, that was the. I mean, I've as an Eagles fan, I loved it. You know, it was wonderful, and you don't get to see many games, even regular season games, let alone a postseason game, notwithstanding the freaking Super Bowl, to see that kind of dismantling of a team. And as a casual fan, had it been two other teams playing, I would have been yawning and I would have been out in the shed playing fucking darts. Like listening to like every now and then I'd be glancing at it because it was so one sided.
Yeah. It was really
So
reminiscent of the you remember the recent Rams Patriots Super Bowl a few years ago, where like the
oh yeah,
final score was like 9-3 or something like that. It was like that level.
Yeah, it was a slog.
Terrible.
This wasn't exciting for anyone except for Eagles fans and people that just hated the Chiefs.
Honestly, even I started to get a little bit bored near the end.
Not me. Not
Like
me. I
the
relish
first one
me
every
either.
moment
in
of it.
2017, that was the like arguably one of the best Super Bowls to watch ever. Super Bowl 52. Because it was so tight every single step of the way. It was exciting the whole way. This one, we just fucking smacked their asses.
Yeah, that Super Bowl the first one that we won, the 2017-2018 season, that was a phenomenal Super Bowl. I mean, and then you were right on the edge of I mean, I really thought that the Eagles were going to find some way to lose
Fuck
because
it
I was
up.
so used to it.
Me too. Yeah, I
Decades and
expected them to
decades of
fuck it up
losing.
too.
You were just
But they
waiting for
also,
Brady to throw that Hail Mary and for
oh
it to
yeah, and
end.
just end it. But the thing is, this year we also had a team that was substantially better than the team in 2017. The team in 2017, they were really, really, really good, but not like this.
No.
This team was fucking incredible, setting records across the board.
Well, they did. I think they did lead the league in sacks that season. They had more sacks than any other team did, but the overall defense wasn't as good. They gave up a lot of yards. They gave up a lot of yards.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Oh.
even if you look at last year compared to this year, the defense was like ranked what 30th in the league, and now they were number 1 in one season turnaround. That's
Yeah,
insane.
and I mean, you got to
Thank you,
give
babe.
it to Fangio, right? I mean, he runs it.
He's
Obviously, he runs a
awesome.
tight ship.
Yeah, I was watching there was an interviewer, and they were asking the players at their lockers. They were like, "Do your best Vic Fangio impression," and they were like, "No, you're gonna get me in trouble." And Jordan Davis goes, they went up to Jordan Davis and they go, "Everybody tells us you do the best one, so go ahead and do it for us." And he goes, "Ugh, you call that a play?" They said you were supposed to hit the quarterback, and it was just it was phenomenal. Like they clearly have a chemistry in that locker room that you just can't artificially produce. Like it's a group of guys who actually genuinely like each other, and I think that that's because they all came from the same fucking college practically.
Well,
All of them
that
are Georgia
certainly helps.
Bulldogs.
Yeah,
They've been homies since they were like fucking 18.
And
yeah.
we got to
That Fangio really reminds me a lot of Jim Johnson.
I was gonna
Like
say the exact same thing.
he was this older, like gruff guy who was like,
Yeah.
he was short on words but big on actions.
Yeah,
Like
he was awesome.
he left everything. He spoke on the field. He didn't have much to say. He didn't need to say much. He let his defense speak for itself.
Yeah. I was gonna make the exact same comparison.
And we also got to give it to CJ GJ. I feel like he came back and just added another layer of glue to make everybody work together.
I don't know why the fuck he left.
Yeah, I couldn't understand. Well, he probably wanted money. I guess I don't know.
Well, according to him, it was because the Eagles fans pissed him off. So he left.
Yeah, well, I mean,
But it's okay because he has a ring
fans,
now.
Yeah.
Eagles fans, they like to reward effort, and they don't want bullshit, and they can sense it right away
Yeah,
if someone's trying to bullshit them.
yeah.
But I also want to say one more thing about the defense. Like you really can't like underestimate Roseman drafting that Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper
Cooper
DeJean.
DeJean. Yeah,
I mean, those two were such impact players on
yeah,
this team this season. I mean, because the Eagles last season, one of their biggest problems was they couldn't stop anybody through the air.
yeah.
And
Especially over the
these
middle.
guys were just shutting the teams down. Two rookies, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's unheard of.
yeah.
It's unheard
Well,
of. One, you
we
might hit one, but they got two.
let's take this even further back. Like, if you look at the first 3 rounds of the draft for the previous 3 drafts, Howie Roseman doesn't miss. You have Jordan Davis, you have Nakobe Dean, you have Jalen Carter, you have Cooper DeJean, you have Nolan Smith, you have Quinyon Mitchell. Like, he just continuously and constantly drafts starters in
Yeah, I don't
whatever
know
round
who
you
they're. I don't know
choose.
who. I don't know who runs their scout team,
Promote
but
him.
they better make sure they never let those fucking guys go.
Yeah, like, dude, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, what witchcraft they're brewing in the cauldron in Howie Roseman's office, but they need to keep brewing the lotions and potions.
Whatever those scouts are saying, they got good eyes.
Yeah,
They know talent when they see it, and they're feeding that information to Roseman, and Roseman was working his magic with the numbers, and yeah, he's been amazing. And really, the only drop off they had was when when Laurie and his infinite wisdom decided that Chip Kelly would be a better judge of
Yeah.
talent,
Oh my
and
god.
that was a huge mistake.
yeah, and he gave away everything.
Yeah,
He
Laurie
gave,
made a mistake there. He rolled the dice and it
yeah,
didn't
it
work
didn't
out
pay
for him at
off.
all.
I mean, dude, I remember when they gave up everything to pick up DeMarco Murray, the running back. Oh
Yeah,
my
from the
god,
Cowboys.
that was miserable. Holy shit, that was
Yeah, he
awful.
was awful. He was
It was
awful.
terrible. Like, dude, I remember one specific play, and it's the only run he ever had as an Eagle that I actually remember. And it was where he just kept bouncing off the guy and running backwards a little bit over and over and over again. And he ended up going back 26 yards. But they didn't blow the whistle on him because he kept jumping off of him and continuing to run like a
Yeah,
moron. It's the
that was
only
one of the times
play.
the Cowboys unloaded that one on us.
Yeah, they dumped him hard. He was really good when he played for them, but he was
Yeah, well,
not good
back
for
then,
It was
us.
a sabotage
I think they
pit.
had a better offensive line back then too. So
Yeah. But no, you're totally right. I mean, they drafted Marcus Smith, Howie did, and then that was a total disaster. And then they handed the keys to the farm to Chip
Chip
Kelly,
Kelly.
and Chip Kelly traded away all of our picks, all of our players, everything to the San Francisco 49ers. And then when he got fired from here, he went and
Yeah, he
coached the
went there.
49ers.
He went there, and he
He
sucked
gave them
there too.
everything. Yeah, he sucked. He sucked big time there.
His actually as a coach, his philosophy with that whole hurry up offense was brilliant for scoring points.
Yeah.
The problem is the flip side of the coin is you kill your defense.
Yeah.
'Cause you might score a bunch of points, but you just keep throwing your defense back out on the field, and it just ruins them, man.
Yeah, because
You
you
got to
can
keep
always
them
do
fresh.
time of possession. You like the thing is the time of possession doesn't actually matter so much to the point or until you get to the point where you're letting the other offense control the pace of the game. And I think that that was kind of his fatal flaw is that no matter who we played against, it was always them dictating how the game would go because they had all of the time.
Yeah, well, you can't wear your defense down like that either. I mean, he was killing them. He killed the
That's what I'm
defense.
saying. Yeah. No, it was a disaster. He was terrible. And then I mean honestly, Howie Roseman came back in what, like 2015, I think he took back over as GM, and that's
Yeah,
when we
it was like
hired
a year or
Dougie.
two. Yeah, it was a year or two before they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it was astonishing how fast the turnaround was. So, yeah, kudos to Howie Roseman for this, too. Every Super Bowl we've won has had Howie Roseman as a GM. So, you can't take any credit away from the guy.
Oh, I mean, we've won 2.
Yeah, I know. Both of them under him.
With
Yeah,
3
well, I mean, what was
appearances.
he? Well, he was probably like, 8 or 9. 1980 when they first went.
Sure. But yeah, no, I think that this has been something that's been accumulating over multiple years here, not something that's like a 1-year blip anomaly type deal. I think the Eagles might go back again soon. I have no reason to believe they won't, depending on what they do here in the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
There's no reason to think that they're definitely they should be good. The difference between this year, this past season, and next season is the expectation, right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the bar is way up here now,
Mhm.
whereas the start of this season, I mean, I'm not going to say it was a low bar. I mean, there was no reason to think they couldn't be good and compete, but I mean, come on. Nobody predicted that they were going
No,
to be as good as they were.
nobody,
Nobody did.
nobody.
Well, yeah, except for you.
There you go. That's
I'm
right.
talking
That
about, hey
that's
man,
right.
I told you before, I've been a fan of this team for a long time. See, you know what? You get to see the Eagles through this prism of Eagles green colored glasses. You weren't there when they had 3 fucking win seasons. I was.
I was still
I got
right. I don't see
jaded.
what that has to do with anything.
Well, you're not jaded. Like you have a fucking few losing seasons and then, suffer. You gotta suffer a
I
little.
did have losing seasons. I watched when Chip Kelly coached. I watched
Yeah,
the
well
dream team fall apart.
that was an anomaly. That was an anomaly. They were good. I mean, they were good all under Reed. You know how many they made the playoffs like every fucking year. I remember never making the playoffs for a decade. We were
So,
the armpit
long
of the
story short
NFC.
here, I was right about where they would be this season, is what you're saying.
You predicted it. I mean,
That's right.
I sure didn't. I mean, I didn't think they would suck, but I certainly didn't think they were going to win the Super Bowl. That just seemed absurd.
I called the
Until,
Super Bowl in week 6.
well, I did get the score of the Super Bowl right at least. I
Yeah,
think I
you
think I
did.
said it was going to. I said 42-17, and it
Yeah.
ended up being
Wow.
40-22. So I was pretty
Yeah,
damn
he was
close.
pretty close.
Damn.
Yeah. The night before I predicted 55-3. So,
Yeah, I didn't agree with that one.
yeah, that was a little too ambitious.
Well,
Although, I
it
mean,
almost
I guess
happened.
they could
Yeah.
have really rubbed it in.
Yeah, if they really wanted to stuff their dick down their throat, they could have, I guess.
Yeah, they could have really they could have made it a lot worse than it was.
You're
And
getting some
well,
more.
the greatest part was there was like they're dumping the Gatorade with 3 minutes left, and fucking Kenny
Oh,
Pickett's going in, and
yeah.
it's just like wow,
Dude, the
wow.
craziest thing is that Kenny Pickett has more Super Bowl playtime than the entire Cowboys organization over the past 25 years.
Yeah, he's got more passes in a Super Bowl than Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen,
Joe
and
Burrow. Oh,
Burrow
no, Joe
all
Burrow did.
combined.
No, he did go to a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow did play in a Super Bowl. They just lost.
Yeah, not Burrow. It was Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson
And
were the
Dak
two.
Prescott.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, he's never going to see a Super Bowl. Lucky if
Well,
he
unless
can
he
get
gets
past the
traded.
first round.
He could get traded somewhere.
I guess. I mean, who's going to take him? Dude's always hurt. I don't know.
I don't know.
He's just
I
not that
think
good.
he's not bad. He is
Send him
not
to the
terrible.
Raiders.
No, please don't say. Oh, by the way, talking about Chip Kelly, I wanted to come back to that. He's now the offensive coordinator for the Raiders.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
He's their new offensive coordinator going into this season. So, well, he gets to ruin another team.
I mean, why? Like that? Like
Oh, Pete Carroll must really like him. He's also there.
I mean, you have to wonder. Like, what's it going to take? Like he was an experiment. That a failed experiment. He failed on the Eagles. He
Yeah,
failed
he's
in San
terrible.
Francisco. I mean, why would anybody want to take another chance on him? I
He's
guess
just
people are desperate for coaches.
he's just the dog shit version of Kyle Shanahan. Like he's just a worse version of Shanahan.
Well, okay, I got a question. So here's my question. So
Yeah,
what do you
let's
think
go.
Kellen Moore? What do you think Kellen Moore's going to do
Oh,
in
Dick,
New
you
Orleans?
fucking diddly.
Dude.
Dude,
People are awful
the
hard,
problem is he's the right guy for the job, but they're not the right team to get the job done, if that makes any sense. They just don't have the players. They're relying
No,
on
of
fucking
course.
Derek Carr to be their quarterback.
Well, I
Good
find it
luck.
interesting. I find it interesting that earlier in the season, when before the bye, like we were talking about how the offense wasn't playing so well, they were out of sync, whatever. And the criticism that I heard the most was, and I guess this was mainly from big Hurts supporters, was it wasn't Hurts's fault. It was Kellen Moore. It was all the play call. The play calling was horrible. And really, that didn't change much either, by the way. The
Yeah,
play calling stayed pretty much the same. The
that was
difference is
me.
they stopped throwing it so much.
It just
But it was
depends on
always
what
the
play
play
you pull
calling.
out.
Huh?
It just depends on which play you're pulling out. Some of them were the coach's fault, some of them were the quarterback's fault.
Agreed. Right. I agree with that. But it was always it was always one sided. If I guess people like me were saying it was Hurts, because I didn't have a lot of confidence in him then. And the people that supported him said it was the play calling. When yeah, it's always some combination of the two.
Yeah. So here's another thing for you, and I've been pestering poor little Marky with this question all season.
Oh Lord.
He already knows what's coming. But Dad, you gotta answer my question, yes or no? Does the O-line look better this season with Cam Jurgens at center than it did last season with Jason Kelsey at center?
Uh I don't know if better is right. Better is the
Oh,
right.
come on.
I don't know if better is the
Yes.
right answer.
Yes.
Honestly, I
Don't
mean,
puss out on me. Give me an answer.
I would say it didn't. I would say it didn't. There wasn't any regression. There was no regression at the center position, but I don't. Did it improve? I don't know. Maybe a little. I
I
would
have
say it was
2,000 yards
negligible.
of reasons to explain how it did.
I would. I think it's. I would think any improvement's negligible. And it is hard to say. It's really hard to put a price on the leadership that Kelsey brought to the table too.
Sure, of
That
course.
that has value too. I mean, it's not just yeah. Jurgens is young. He should be better. He should be stronger. He should be faster. He's fucking younger. That's when you
What
get
I heard
old.
out
Like
of that little nugget there was that he was
you know,
better.
when you get old like me, you got to use your guile and you got to use your experience and you got to use your leadership. You can't rely on your physical gifts anymore.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
that I have
Kelsey was
physical
always
gifts,
small
but I'm
for a
talking about
center,
football.
too.
What's that?
Kelsey was always small for a center, too, so it's a surprise that he lasted as long as he did.
Yeah, well, he was like a 4th or a 5th round pick or something
Yeah,
too,
he
right? Or
was,
3rd round. I
yeah.
mean, he was a late pick. He wasn't like
I think he
he
was
wasn't drafted
fifth.
like Jurgens. Jurgens was drafted in the 1st round. He should be fucking good. He should be a
Yeah.
hell of a lot better than Kelsey was at this point.
You would hope. But
Well,
yeah,
I
no,
like
I've been pestering Mark with this all season.
It's so fucking
well,
annoying.
I think I'm in Mark's camp here. Then I wouldn't say there was no regression, and I would
Well,
say any kind of massive improvement.
I would
The
say the
improvement.
lack of a regression proves my point.
actually, I hate the reason it bothers me so much is because I have to unfortunately agree with him. Yeah, Saquon got 2,000 plus yards.
Yeah,
And we
well,
also gave up
he didn't
way
play
less
when, but
sacks,
Kelsey
too.
wasn't the center when he was the running back. So
Sure, but I don't think if we had Saquon last year that it would have been the same kind of production it was this year, even with Kelsey.
Why? You don't think? Do you think that Barkley is a better running back than Swift?
Well,
Yeah.
for sure he is.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't. Who's to say? I mean, that hindsight's 2020. There's no way. We'll never know. We'll never know how good Barkley could have been. I mean, and it's one player. And Kelsey's great. Jurgens is. It seems like he's going to fill those shoes. Pretty well. But there's no way to say how good Barkley could have been with Kelsey as center. I mean, he's one player.
Yeah.
The whole
I mean,
line
don't get me wrong. I love the guy. I wish he could play forever. I think that the O-line looked better this season than last season. If you just look at the sack percentage, like what the percentage of dropbacks where they give up a sack, it was better this season than it was last season. If you look at the performance of the running back, it was better this season than it was last season. Average timed before quarterback pressure was better this season than it was last season. And these are the metrics you use to evaluate an O-line.
Right, but keep in mind they had a monumental collapse last season. Why? Was it because
they
of
were
the
still on
line?
the field?
Was it because of the offensive line, though?
I don't know. It's probably a combination of multiple factors, but they could have had a collapse this season too and didn't. I don't see how that eliminates it from the statistics.
I don't know. He's one player. That's hard
I
to
agree.
say.
He's one player. I'm not saying he's the problem. I'm just saying the O-line is better this season after he retired.
Well, maybe.
I'm saying it was time to retire. It was time to retire.
All right, look, I'll agree. I think the offensive line as a whole played better this season.
There we go.
And it probably has more to do with them just not having to pass protect as much.
Dude, getting Eagles fans to admit this is like pulling fucking teeth, man.
Well, like I said, any offensive lineman will tell you that they would prefer to run block as opposed to pass blocking. Pass blocking's harder.
Sure.
And they didn't pass block as much.
Sure, that's why it's percentage-based, the statistics.
Percentage-based, what do you mean?
Like sack percentage on dropbacks and average time to pressure.
If you're not throwing the fucking ball as much, you're not going to take as many sacks because you're handing the goddamn ball.
No, but it's percentage-based. Like, it's not the total number of plays ran. It's only the passes are isolated for that stat.
Right. But,
so it doesn't matter. They could do it 100 times or 5 times. The percentage is what would matter. Unless your argument is they get less tired because they don't have to do it as often.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yes, that's
so. Yeah, I guess they wouldn't get as tired.
You're right. If you're pass blocking 30 times as opposed to 10 times,
it'll tire you out more.
In 10 times than you will be in 30 times. I mean, that's just makes sense. And it's harder. Pass blocking's harder.
Sure.
Right? You're on your feet more. You're blocking more. When you're run blocking, you're pushing 1 or 2 guys out of the way and you're done. You're not locked up with somebody, with Hurts, you need at least 5 or 6 seconds normally because he wasn't getting rid of it very quickly. He was holding on to it. That's why he was taking so many sacks earlier in the season.
And last season.
Yeah. Up until the fucking playoffs, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
That was when he decided to not take sacks. I don't know. Maybe Kansas City just wasn't that goddamn good, too.
He doesn't want to take sacks in the postseason. No, I think Kansas City was way overrated. I don't know how the fuck they even got to 15 wins.
This season, absolutely.
I mean, you have to look at the division that they're in, right? They're playing the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers. Come on. That's like giving you fucking 6 free wins a season.
Miss Pussum.
So they were actually like a 9-win team.
I would have been more afraid to play the Bills.
That's what I keep saying, dude. I'm so glad we didn't have to play them fuckers.
Would have been more entertaining, I guess.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, well, no, fuck that is right. But I'm just saying the game would have been more entertaining. It wouldn't have been as good for Eagles fans, but it would have been more entertaining.
Fuck all them fans. I don't care. We got another ring, and that's what matters.
I
No,
I was really hoping for a Ravens Eagles Super Bowl.
What the hell did you want that for?
I
Oh,
like
Miss Puss.
I like Derrick Henry. And I thought
Man,
that
what the fuck?
I like him. What do you want from me?
I want you
I
to not
like
like him.
what's not to like? If Derrick Henry's good, I mean,
Yeah,
why
he is
wouldn't you
good,
like
but
Derrick Henry?
I don't want to play against him if I don't have to. Fuck that.
I mean, why not? We laid his ass out.
Yeah, once
Once,
doesn't mean you're gonna do it again.
how many yards did he generate
No.
in that game?
Like 50 or 60, I think.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean laying the wood on
Slammed
him
him.
was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Great. All right,
Yeah,
so I got
what's
one more question before I sign off here.
all right? What's up?
So, I mean, I guess it's not really controversial because they even said it like, during the speeches at the parade. But I saw this shirt because I was looking to like get like a shirt, on Amazon, an Eagles shirt. This was before the Super Bowl. And I saw the shirt that said "Exciting Whites," right? And had Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship on it. So, like, I sent it to Brad, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think that's going to go over so well." And I was thinking, really, is there some racial component to this? Because it seemed like all the black guys were all cool and on board with it. They didn't seem to have a problem with it. So I just wanted to get your guys' opinion before.
I don't
I
know
think
who
it's
coined the
cool. I don't
phrase, to be
know.
honest. It's a play on the joke that white guys can never play corner or DB, right?
Well, they normally don't.
Yeah,
So
I
I
know.
mean,
Like Cooper was the first one that was drafted in like what, 25 years since
nah,
what was it,
Jason
Jason
Sehorn.
Sehorn? Yeah,
Yeah, since Jason Sehorn, you gotta dig pretty deep. What
that
was
was
that like in the
25
early
years
two
ago.
thousands or something? Yeah, I mean you got
Yeah,
to go
it's
back pretty
25
far.
years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's my
But I just
lifetime.
wondered if is it just me like so what what do the Z's and the X's say about it?
I mean,
Or the
I
millennials.
don't I don't care. It doesn't offend me. Um
It certainly doesn't offend me. I was hyped up
Yeah. I didn't
on
think it would
both
yeah.
offend
on
you.
both Q and Coop. I
I think
think
let me put it to you this way. I have actually heard a lot of people talking about this. I have seen more white guys and white women get offended by the exciting whites thing than I've seen like black dudes get offended by the exciting whites thing.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like there's some nervousness, like they're afraid they're going to be offensive, even though it's not intended to be offensive.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's no matter what you say, you're going to offend somebody, so fuck them.
Yeah,
Right?
that's kind of like
Somebody's
half
going to
of
be
what our
offended.
podcast is about at this point is offending the right person.
no. I mean,
It's like I saw a post on social media, like it was a while ago, and it said it just had a picture of a rock, right? And it said here's a rock. All right, somebody's offended by it, like, and there's comments. Fuck, it's 400 comments. Most of them are jokes, but it's true. Like people are just offended by everything, I guess. But
Yeah. I like I said, I've seen more white folks that are offended by this. But I don't want to turn this into a political podcast. We can do that on a different one.
no, well, I mean, this was actually, it came up during the speeches in the parade, and they're selling
Yeah,
T-shirts.
I know. Well, they literally introduced them as the exciting whites in the Super Bowl speech.
Yeah, that's
Did
why I
they
brought it
really?
up. I thought it was. I don't think it's that big a deal, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
No, I
somebody will
don't think it's a
comment.
big deal either. Oh, people can comment whatever the fuck they want. I don't give a rat's ass.
Because you're going to get a lot more views now that the old man's in here talking.
Exactly. This is what we need.
Yeah, nobody fucking cares.
I mean, to be honest, it was mostly one guy who understood football and another guy just trying to.
Oh, please. Dude, Mark does this shit to himself all the time, man. He's always like, I'm new to football. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I certainly don't understand it as well as the two of you do. I certainly
Well,
don't.
we've come
Are
a
you
long way,
really?
Mark.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that, but are you?
You
really
gotta
gonna
stop
say-
downplaying yourself, like Jesus.
Bro, when he was fucking talking about how Chip Kelly ran the offense, bro, I didn't like.
Well, I
I
mean,
would
you
never
and
be-
98% of other people who watch football don't know shit about Chip Kelly.
Well,
Most
sure, but
people
I would
aren't
never
even
be-
Eagles fans.
I would never be able to explain it like that. I would never be able
I
to.
don't
I
know.
don't think that's
Well,
true. I
okay,
think
maybe
Mark's
not
just
never.
downplaying himself.
All
He's
right,
he's
all right.
being all nervous,
all right. Maybe not never, but certainly not at this point.
self-deprecating.
Oh, shut up.
We love you, Marky. We want you to be confident in yourself.
I mean, I am confident. I got my first ring with many more to come.
Yeah, but did you predict the outcome in week 6?
No, I did
That's
not.
what I thought. Stay in your place.
All right. Well, you know what? We're
Never
gonna be getting
would.
some. We're gonna be getting some bold fucking predictions then next season. We'll see how they pan out.
Okay. I do every division every year. By the way, I gotta go and check. I forgot to check and see how well I did.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see that. You ought to put that on.
Yeah,
the
here. Hold on. I'm about to pull it up because I did it live last year. Here, hold on. I'm signing in now. Let's see.
I made one prediction for this season and I was right.
Well, I was certainly right about the Eagles.
I said the commies were going to be somewhat decent.
Yeah,
They were.
I thought they were gonna be good too.
Well, I won like $400 in the football pool, so in the lottery. So I did all right
damn.
predicting things.
Damn.
Those predictions turned out. Of course, I lost like 800, so I guess maybe not so good. Of course, I think those cocksuckers still owe me money.
It's time to come collecting.
It all comes back,
Or does it?
right? Puss.
Miss some puss. Oh, she's so wonderful. I miss her.
All right.
Miss everybody.
So,
out there.
I might have been a little bit off on my predictions here.
Oh,
No
really?
fucking way.
So
Who
I
would've
had
guessed.
I had the Bills at 10 or 11 wins. I was pretty close on that one. I had them winning their division. I had the Dolphins
that
at
wasn't
10 or
far.
11 wins. That wasn't too good. I had the Patriots at 7 or 8, and I had the Jets at 5. So I only missed on one in that division, really. Then for the NFC South, I had the Buccaneers at 2 to 4 wins. I was pretty wrong there.
I would say so.
I had the Panthers at 6 to 7 wins. I
Uh-huh.
had the Saints winning the division with 8 or 9 wins. And I had the Falcons at 7 or 8 wins, taking second place in the division. So I got one team in the NFC South correct. The Falcons I got right. Then I have the AFC North, and this is where the disaster really unfolds. I had the Bengals winning the division with 11 or 12 wins. I had the Ravens at 10 wins. I had the Steelers at 6 or 7 wins, and I had the Browns at 6 wins. So I hit on 2 teams in that division. I had the Jags at 7 wins, the Titans at 4 wins, the Colts at 5 wins, and the Texans at 7 or 8 wins, but winning the division. I had the AFC South pegged down pretty well outside of the Texans. For the AFC West, I had the Chiefs at 13 wins, the Chargers at 10, the Raiders at 5 or 6, and the Broncos at 3 or 4. I had the Eagles at 12 wins, so they did a little bit better than I expected. I had the Cowboys in 3rd place at 7 or 8 wins. I had the Giants at 7 or 8 wins, and I had the Commanders at 10 wins. So I kind of nailed it on the NFC East. I had the Vikings at 10 wins, the Lions at 11 wins, the Packers at 8, and the Bears at 8 as well. But I had the Lions winning the division. I was closer on that one. And then for the final division, I had the NFC West. I had the 49ers at 9 wins, so I wasn't too far off. I had the Seahawks at 10 wins and winning the division, and then I had the Rams at 3 wins and the Cardinals at 2 wins. So I'd say I have like a 60% correct rate here.
Yeah, picking Detroit to win their division wasn't really something a savant had to fucking come up with.
I mean, that
But
division was pretty
no,
fucking close.
that was that wasn't bad. I would never go out on a limb and try to make predictions. You made that before the start of last season?
Before the start of the season, yeah, I've done this the past 2. What the hell?
Your mom probably turned the freaking lights off. Alexa,
Papa,
lights on.
going dark.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, he has to go dark before he starts cracking out his own predictions.
Yeah, for real.
Alexa, lights 60%.
But but no, I've done this the past 2 seasons in a row here. I've been doing it every year. And I do it right after the draft too. I do it in like July is when I make my predictions. So this will be a fun season where there's just one prediction, another Eagles Super Bowl, and then we're just good. Got to put that out in the universe.
All right. Well, the old man's got to get something to eat.
All
right. See you, old man.
I'm signing off, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
Mark.
It's good to talk with you too. Enjoy it.
All right, son. Son, I'll catch up
See
with you
ya.
later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
So the last segment of our show, I think we have to talk about the draft a little bit here for the last. Who do you think is the number 1 pick in the draft? Who is first overall?
Let me just go ahead and look at
I've changed my opinion already from when I made that.
draft. Okay. All right. It's either Shadur, Cam, or Carter.
Okay.
If I had to pick just one, I don't think the Titans trade, so they need a QB. I think they're going to pick Cam.
I am 100% in agreement with you. That's my change. I think the Titans take him. And I'm making another change here. I think that if Shadur Sanders does not get drafted by the New York Giants, he will not get drafted in the top 10.
Damn. Also, I got to bring this up. It's just been bothering. Are you spitting out cherry pits into that old juice bottle?
Yeah, it was a cherry jar.
Okay.
What?
Nothing.
It's labeled cherries.
Yeah.
Or as a matter of fact, just cherries.
You don't think the Browns take him?
Who, Shadur?
Yeah.
No, dude, they're replacing Myles Garrett. They're taking fucking Abdul Carter. 100%.
The Saints might pick him.
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
That would really be the only one. Maybe. No, the Dolphins front office is incompetent. Do that. I was gonna say maybe the Dolphins pick him up because Tua.
Here's something that I think might
Tua
actually
can't have
happen.
another year.
I think that some team, don't know who, maybe the Cowboys, maybe the Eagles, will give up a first-round pick to get Myles Garrett. Somebody's going to give up a first-round pick to get Myles Garrett. Somebody is. And I think that the Browns might use that pick to pick up Shadur Sanders if he's available. But I don't think that most teams value Shadur Sanders that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to watch some film before the draft to see exactly how these guys are looking.
Brother, I want you to really pay close attention to Shadur Sanders on film. Have fun.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that great of a pickup.
Let me see if I can't get a quick taste. I misspelled his name. I'm sorry. All right, let's see.
Like, quite frankly, the singular reason that anybody is even considering Shadur Sanders is because of who his father is.
Okay. That was a quick release.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Snap.
The biggest thing for Shadur Sanders, like if I were to give a scouting report, he needs to work on his decision making, and he needs to work on his reads, like going through his progressions. The strengths that he has are his accuracy and his speed, like his decision making and his athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
If he can just clean up.
As you say that, he just pulls off like a 15, 20-yard run.
Yeah, he can run. And he's really accurate.
Yeah.
Really good accuracy. But I think that the only team that would be at all interested in him is the New York Giants. I think if the New York Giants don't take him, nobody will.
All right, let's see. Here's some. Yeah, trying to watch the highlight reel. It's not working. Let's see. This is actual film breakdown.
Here. I'll just read his scouting report. Here. You won't find a tougher or more resilient quarterback prospect than Sanders, who took 99 sacks over the past 2 seasons, but still put up really strong numbers. I'm always impressed watching him throw on the move, rolling either left or right. He is very accurate in those spots and has the arm to drive the ball. When his mechanics and footwork are sound, he can pick apart a defense, and while he's not necessarily a major rushing threat, he can keep the chains moving with his legs when there is an opening. Throwing late over the middle and holding the ball for too long, but his accuracy and ability to make off-platform plays from different arm angles are standout traits. So overall, it's decision-making stuff. He needs to be coached well.
Yeah. Did anybody pick up what's his name?
Good one.
The
I love what's his name. Oh God!
Everflus.
Sorry, something scared me. What would you say?
Did Everflus find work? Let's give him to Everflus.
I have no idea. But this is going to be our last point. We got to
Oh.
get it wrapped up here.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. He's the DC for Cowboys.
Really? I didn't remember that. Or I didn't read that. That's crazy. Wow, dude. Jerry Jones is really doing everything he can to nerf his own team. What a loser.
Yeah. All right.
What kind of a fucking moron is that guy anyway? Unbelievable. Yes, we're going to wrap up. So, this was our recap, our fun of Super Bowl coverage for the Fumble Forecast. Super Bowl 59. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. You're going to, Super Bowl champions of the Licks Super Bowl. And,
we gave them their licks.
Yeah, we gave them some licks. And yeah, so you guys will see us again right after the draft, and then you'll see at least me again in July to make my predictions, as we just discussed earlier. I do it every year. So have a nice night. Remember, we love each and every single one of you. So remember to follow and share with a couple of your friends. And we will see you guys at the draft. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.